A very good evening, folks. Thank you so much for being live with us this evening. We're glad you're here and welcome to the very last presentation from the AD Solution Workshop Series. We're glad you're here this evening and hope these sessions and these presentations are going to be effective and these management acts would be easy to implement in your Active Directory and make your Active Directory management a lot easier. My name is Shane and I'm a senior presenter here at Manage Engine AD Solutions, and I will be your topic presenter this evening. So today we're going to deal with the last series that's lined up for us. That's on automating critical tasks in AD, configuring your AD Manager Plus app on your mobile, and just a few troubleshooting tricks and tips to gain a good troubleshooting experience on your AD Manager Plus. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm just going to do a very quick recap of what's been happening over the past weeks. So on the first week, we had a look at user provisioning, how to create users with CSV files and templates. So we had a look at how you could minimalize your CSV files and just provide very little information on your CSV files, and how templates can store a lot of these information. So that was for the first week, and the second week we had a look at modify user, reset password, unlocking users, disabling users, managing file server permission for users, decommissioning file servers. Then we had a look at how to delete users in bulk and restore deleted users in bulk. This was for week 2. And week 3, we dealt with Active Directory delegation through the tool and workflow. So AD delegation basically is allowing your Active Directory users to be configured as technicians in the tool. So by that they will be able to log into the tool and manage your Active Directory. So these Active Directory technicians in the tool will be mapped with specific permissions through the roles. So those roles are called help desk roles. So all the features within the tool can be configured as an option for these users, and once they log into the tool, they will be able to perform operations pertaining to their roles. For example, if you have a user creation role assigned to a user, he will be able to create users through the tool. If you have user modification roles, he'll be able to modify users through the tool. If he has the super admin role, he will be able to perform all operations through the tool. This was for week 3. And for week 4, we had a look at how you could replace your PowerShell scripts to run reports with the Active Directory reports in AD Manager Plus. So we had a look at a few reports like inactive users report, disabled users report, reports on group membership, reports on invalid group memberships. We had a very huge look at permission cleanup reporting and reports on Exchange, computers, etc. So that was for week 4. Okay, and today we're just going to be focusing on automations. We're going to look at a couple of automations today, and then we're going to have a look at the app that's available for iPhone and on Android on AD Manager Plus, and then we're going to have a look at a few troubleshooting tips and tricks. Okay. On the same note, I would like to thank everybody for being persistent with us for the last few weeks, and the response that we've been receiving and the feedback that we've been receiving is quite overwhelming. So we really want to thank everybody that's here with us week after week, and your response and your feedback is very valuable to us. Do let us know your feedback and your comments on these presentations, and just to let you know that we've planned for a lot of other workshops in the coming months, and we will keep you posted. Okay, so I'm just going to begin with the session, and without further ado, I'm just going to move to the topics that's lined for the day. Okay, so firstly, we're going to deal with user provisioning accounts as per new joinee details that are given by HR executives. So this automation is going to be a very minimalistic approach automation. So how the HR is just going to give minimal information pertaining to the user, and how you could use it and provision accounts in the Active Directory, while provisioning accounts, how you can simultaneously create other accounts like Exchange, O365, Skype for Business as well. Okay, so minimal CSV provided by the HR executives or minimal information pertaining to users provided by an HR, how you could utilize that and start provisioning accounts for those users. So that's the first one. The second one that we're going to deal with is stale account removal from your Active Directory. How you could trace, quarantine, and clean stale accounts from your Active Directory. The third one that we're going to deal with is how you can temporarily give access to users to business data, application resources, and make sure you revoke them over a period of time. So that's the third one. The fourth one that we're going to deal with is ensuring accuracy in multi-DC domain controller reports available in AD Manager Plus. How you could increase the accuracy of data that's being presented in reports on a multi-DC report. So we're going to look at what is a multi-DC report and how reports are being populated through multi-DC reports. So that's the fourth one. The fifth one that we're going to deal with is performing important AD tasks on the move through the AD Plus mobile app. So you're basically going to deal with what are the features available on the mobile app and how it works. That's going to be the fifth one. And the sixth one is just a few troubleshooting tips and tricks that are going to be helpful while you manage link and exchange accounts through AD Manager Plus. So this is the agenda that's lined up for the day, and I'm just going to move towards my AD Manager Plus. Okay, so I know you would have a lot of queries during the session. Please feel free to drop in your queries on chat, and I will be available on the chat in 10 minutes later than the session. So I will be available in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. You could also access the AD Manager Plus that's available. So to access the AD Manager Plus that's available on the cloud, you just have to go to the one link that I'm giving you on chat, and the username is going to be admin, and the password would be workshop with a W capital. So that's going to be the username and the password for the AD Manager Plus application that's hosted on the cloud. So you could access it and you could start practicing it along with me. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go to my AD Manager Plus. So that's the very first tab that you're going to see once you log into the AD Manager Plus. It's called the dashboard. So the dashboard contains a list of users, specifically inactive users, disabled users, locked out users, the number of computers, the various type of computers, and it's going to contain the number of groups, OUs, GPOs in your domain. So this is a multi-domain environment. I have many domains configured here in my tool. So as you can see, I have these dashboard graphs for each of those domains out there. Okay. So today we're going to basically deal with this one specific tab called automation out here. So what is automation would be the first question to begin with. Automation is basically doing an Active Directory management task at a specific point of time. Okay, so once you create an automation, it will continuously happen at that point of time without any human intervention. So you create the automation and let AD Manager Plus do its job, and it'll keep doing it until you disable it or delete it. So that's automation. You're going to see two specific options on the left side of the automation. That's called automation, and the second one's called automation policy. So what is automation policy then, and what difference does it make from automation? So automation basically here, according to AD Manager Plus, is just doing one specific Active Directory task over a period of time. But let's say I want to do a couple of management tasks. Let's say, for example, reset passwords and move users to a different group, move users to an OU. I have a couple of other management tasks lined up in that case, I will have to go for a policy. So a policy is going to be several tasks, several management tasks in one single automation. So I'll have to create a policy and link it with an automation. Automation is basically just doing one single task. Okay, so the very first automation that we're going to deal with is how to ensure that a HR has a minimalistic approach, or how to ensure that a HR provides very minimal information on a CSV file, and how we can provision users at ease. Okay, so let's assume today I'm going to provision users for my IT department. So I have a couple of new employees that are joining in, and the HR has information that pertains with the HR, like the name, the name information, the department information as such. I have those information that's pertaining with the human resource team, and how I'm going to provision accounts for these users is what we're going to deal with. So I'm just going to click on Create New Automation, and here I'm going to name the automation as User Creation for IT department. So these employees are joining my IT team. So I have the automation name here. I'm going to select the domain. So since this is a multi-DC environment, multi-domain environment, I have to choose my domain here. Then what category of automation? So it's going to be a user automation. We also have automations pertaining to computer, group, contact, but the automation that we're going to deal with is user. So I have user automation here. Okay, we're just going to move to the next bit of automation, which is tasks to automate. So the moment I see automation task bar policy, I'm just going to ask a quick question to myself. What automation am I going to do? What automation am I going to achieve? Okay, so this is a user creation automation, as the name suggests. So I'm just going to click the drop-down box and select create users. So the moment I click on create users, I get two fields right below the drop-down box. First one is going to be template to be applied. The second one is going to be location of the CSV. So if you've been attending our workshop series, the very first workshop series dealt with templates and CSV files. So just for the benefit of others who are in this workshop, in this presentation now, I'm just going to do a very quick recap of the templates and the CSV files that we dealt with on the first series. So templates and CSV files are available on the AD Management tab. So I'm just going to go quickly to the AD Management tab. Just going to click on Create User Creation Templates and Create New Template. Okay, so just going to begin with a very simple question here. So what are templates? Templates are basically Active Directory fields that are put on a layout, and you can pre-configure these fields and use it during user creation. So basically, I can have a lot of information that is stored in these templates, and call this template during a user creation and fill in minimal values on the CSV file. Okay, so if I have very little CSV, very little fields on the CSV file, the bulkiness of the CSV file is replaced by these templates. So I have most of the data here on the templates, which I can use it during a user creation and provide user-specific information on the CSV file. Okay, so two words for templates. The first word is going to be configuration. The second word is going to be customization. Okay, so in terms of configuration is what we're going to deal with at first. So in terms of configuration, about templates, I can have a lot of information stored on these templates, like I've mentioned. So the first one that I would like to begin with is naming formats. Okay, so you have a couple of naming fields in here from the Active Directory, like the first name, initial, last name, logon name, and the UPN name, full name, display name, and even the email. So email contains a name before the @ and the domain. So here I have the option to select one of the inbuilt formats. So we have a few formats in here, like the last name plus first name. So if I provide the first name as John and the last name as Smith, I'm going to have a logon name like johnsmith@mslink10.com, okay? Or let's say if I'm going to provide a different naming format in here. So let's say last name dot first name. So as you can see how the example changed. So I can choose one of these inbuilt naming formats, or I also have the option to create my own format. I can create my own format here and link it with a template. We have the SAM account name, which is same as we have the UPN name, which is the same as the logon name, or I could choose a different format. So I'm just going to keep it same as logon name, so it's going to take whatever the SAM account name populates. So we have other fields in here like email, display name, full name. Okay. I'm going to go to the very next tab, which contains a lot of information pertaining to Active Directory. This one is where I can specify my group membership. The member of field, I can populate all my groups in here. So when the user gets created, he will be a part of these groups. I can specify a password in here. So if I create users through this template, the user will be created with this password. I can specify information pertaining to profile path and home folder. So as the user gets created, his profile path and home folder will be created in this specific location. I also have the privilege to set the permissions for the profile path and home folder. Okay. Have information pertaining to user account control flags. So basically, if I would want the user to change his password at next logon, I could check this box that's here. Let's say if I don't want the user to change his password, I could check this one here. I could set restrictions pertaining to logon, so I can set his logon time and logon restrictions to certain computers. I also have an account expiry where I can set an account expiry date so that the account expires at the specified time when I create user with this template. I'm just going to move to the important tabs of the tool. We have the Exchange tab where you can specify, if you're trying to create a user with his mailbox, you can specify his mail server and his mailbox store. Also here I have a naming format where I can choose one of the inbuilt formats or a custom naming format. So this one's for the mail nickname or the email alias. Then I have storage limits, delivery restriction, and other Exchange policies that I could set on the template. I'm going to quickly go to the link or Skype for Business tab where I can also provision the link or Skype for Business account while I provision the AD account. So here I can choose my link or Skype for Business server along with a format for the SIP URI address. So I can choose a format here, and this is the address that would be set for the link account. Also, I have an O365 tab in here which simultaneously provisions the account on O365 as well. I could choose my O365 license and enable DirSync. So as you can see it, the template is a one-step solution for all your AD needs. It provisions accounts on the major Microsoft services simultaneously while it's creating the account on the Active Directory. So this is the AD bit of it. Then you have the Exchange mailbox. Then you have the Skype for Business. Then you have the O365. So that covers all the major Microsoft services like I've mentioned. So I can save this template with the name. So I'm going to use it for user creation in the IT department. Okay. I'm just going to save my template. Okay. So that's the configuration aspect of it. Now I'm just going to go to single user creation and show you how the template looks. So if I'm going to fill in a name, let's take John and Smith. So as you can see, it just populated value in there. So that's the configuration bit of the template. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly go to the customizable bit of the template. I'm just going to go back to that same template. and I'm going to quickly edit it. Okay, I'm just going to click on enable drag and drop, and this is going to help me with the customization aspect of the template. Okay, so the moment I enable drag and drop, the whole template opened up, as you could see. Okay, so just a quick question here before I move any further. Would a HR need need the access to view terminal services or exchange related information or O365 related information during user creation? That would be a big no. So or let's put it even this way, would I need to, is there a need for terminal services tab to even be there if I'm not going to be using it? That would be a big no again. So how I could remove tabs that are not in use for my templates is what we're going to look at. So the moment I click on the terminal tab, I have a cross button here which says delete tab. So here I can delete an entire tab from my template. Okay. So if you can delete tabs, can you delete Active Directory fields from the template that are not necessary? That's a big yes again. So for example, I do not need the web page information on my template. I could go ahead and delete it. Okay, so let's say I would want to hide certain tabs. For example, I would want to hide the telephone number on the template. I want a specific telephone number to be mentioned there, but I would like I would like the telephone number to be hidden. I do not want anybody to see it. Yes, that can be done as well. So you have the option which says make silently active. So that field will be used during user creation, but it's just that it will be hidden on the template. Okay. Now I'm going to go to a very important aspect on the template. So how to make certain Active Directory fields mandatory without extending your schema. For example, during user creation on the native Active Directory, the fields that you would have to fill is first name, last name, SAM account name, the user principal name, and the password. Okay, but let's say if you want to make sure that the user has to fill in the employee ID on the native Active Directory during user creation, you will have to extend the schema and make employee ID a mandatory attribute during user creation. But to save you from all that trouble, AD Manager Plus has this feature where you can make this attribute mandatory during user creation. So if somebody is performing a user creation through this template, they will have to fill in this field and they won't be able to skip it. Okay, so you can make it mandatory, and the moment I make it mandatory, you can see how the color changes. So there's a red, asterisk right next to it, depicting that it's mandatory. And then you have another option that we'll be going to look at right now, which is quite important as well. And this is how to prevent duplicates in your Active Directory. Okay, so I'm pretty aware that most of you will know that a SAM account name needs to be unique in the Active Directory. And I'm just going to show you a very simple hack to prevent duplicates. So basically, when you're creating users, how you can prevent duplication and how to prevent users from erroring out during user creation, how to deal with duplicates. So I'm just going to click on edit on my SAM account name field. The moment I click on edit, I'm just going to get this very small box which says prevent duplication. Okay, so I'm just going to check this box, check for duplicates, add, and I get a drop down box which says select. So the moment I click on select, I get two options here. One is domain and the other one is forest. So if I'm going to choose domain level, if I'm creating a user, let's say John Smith, and his SAM account name is going to be John without a space Smith, it's going to search for another user with the same name in the domain level. Let's say with the same name John Smith, and if he has the same logon name John without a space Smith on the domain level. So if I choose forest level, it's going to search in the forest level. Okay, so this is the search option. So what do we do next? Do we correct the user? Do we correct the name, or we do not create the user? Okay, so those options are available below. I have an option here which says apply this naming format. So if I choose apply this naming format, so in case of a duplicate, this is going to apply a different naming format. Have the other option which says automatically append numbers from. So let's say I have a John Smith. The second John Smith will be created with a number at the end. For example, he will be created with the number 2 at the end. The third option which says do not create is not going to create the user in case of duplicate. So if there's a John Smith that's already in your domain level or your forest level, it's not going to create that user. Okay, so this is about the customization bit of it. So we had the configuration bit of it, where you can fill in the template, with values that can be fetched during user creation. The customization bit of it is how you could, configure the template in a very user-friendly way, how you can make certain attributes mandatory, how you can hide tabs, how you can remove a few fields from your template, how you can check for duplicates. Okay, so I'm just going to move forward. I'm just going to save my template. So I have my template here, and just like how I showed you on the single user creation, I'm just going to go there one more time. So I'm just going to populate my first name, which is going to be John, and last name, which is going to be Smith. Okay, so with my first name and last name, it literally populated all the other fields that are available here. So I can also fill in information pertaining to password here, information pertaining to Exchange here, information pertaining to Skype for Business and O365 on the template itself. Okay, so all that I needed was the first name and last name. So that's exactly what the CSV needs as well. So I'm just going to have a simple CSV file with my first name and last name and the rest of the information on the templates. So that makes my life a lot easier and user creation a lot easier as well. So I'm just going to go forward and go to the automation tab. So create new automation. The first automation that we're going to deal for today is going to be user creation in IT department. So this is going to be a user creation category. So user automation definitely. And what task am I going to do is going to be answered by automation task or policy. So it's going to be a user creation task like I've told you. And a template to be applied is the template that we created, which has a lot of Active Directory data on it. So user creation in IT department, location of the CSV file. So we've come to the important bit of the automation. So here you will have to place your CSV file on a shared location and just place the shared location in here. For example, I have my CSV file in here. So I'm just going to place / server name / share name. So I'm just going to have the share name, and under that share I have the folder called as sample.csv. Okay, so this is the format for this for the file name here on the UNC path. Okay, and I have my CSV file in here, so I'm going to specify a time in which the automation has to run. So once I choose the time, and if I hit save, the automation is going to run on that specific time. If I hit save and run, the automation is going to run now and also on the specific time. You might ask me a question now, do I have other formats to specify time? Yes, we do. You can run the automation on a hourly basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. So if I'm going to choose daily basis, let's say 10 a.m. in the morning, I want this automation to run. So what it would do is it will go check this location for a CSV file. If there is a CSV file, it will bring it to AD Manager Plus, run it against this template, and start creating accounts in the Active Directory. So this is about automation as simple as it could be. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a few more options that's available here. Okay, we have a checkbox which says select only appended objects from the file. Okay, so what does this button do? We have, let's say you're going to have just one single CSV file and you're going to keep updating it over a period of time. So let's say the first time the automation runs, you have 10 entries there and it has created 10 accounts. Okay, and you're just going to add another 2 entries on that CSV file. Okay, so the next time the automation runs, you might have a question saying, is it going to create all 12 accounts again? Or is it just going to create the new 2 entries or the new 2 accounts? Okay, the answer is pretty simple. If you have this checkbox checked, so it's just going to take the 2 new accounts and start creating user accounts for them in the Active Directory. So AD Manager Plus is quite smart to know what are the new entries that have been added to the file. Just pick up those entries and start creating user accounts for them. Okay. Then we have another checkbox in here which says implement business workflow. So this is basically the request and approval methodology that's followed in the tool. So here, if you uncheck it, the user accounts get created directly on the Active Directory. But let's say if you're going to check implement business workflow, the users will be converted into tickets that will be raised in the tool, and this will be approved by a couple of people who are called the approvers or the executors within the tool. They will approve it, and after approving it and executing it, only then the request will be converted into users. For example, if I raise a request for a single user creation, it'll go through a set of people, and if they're fine about it, only then the users will be created in the Active Directory. If somebody rejects it, the request or the ticket falls or closes at that point of time. So it does not move anywhere further, and the user does not create it in the Active Directory. So just a quick recap on this. It is just an approval or request and approval methodology that's followed in the tool. Okay. So this is the first automation. The second automation that we're going to look at is how you can trace, quarantine, and clear stale accounts from your Active Directory. Okay, so what are stale accounts? Stale accounts are basically inactive accounts that are in your Active Directory. And why do we have to clear stale accounts is basically to make sure that your Active Directory is threat-free. Okay, so let's say you have a couple of inactive accounts, and these accounts are highly privileged accounts. Okay, and they have access to admin groups, very highly privileged security groups. So what is going to happen at that point of time? If somebody is going to have or get these credentials and log in, they might make your Active Directory go bogus. So how to prevent stale accounts in your Active Directory and how to clear them on a timely basis is what we're going to look at. So a common approach to clear stale accounts or inactive accounts would be first, find them, and the very first step would be to disable them. So once you disable them, then you would move them to an inactive OU or an OU which is called as the inactive OU, and delete them over a period of time. Okay, so you have a couple of management tasks here, and as I mentioned earlier, if you have a lot of management tasks or a series of management tasks, you will have to create an automation policy. So I'm just going to click on automation policy. I'm just going to click on create new automation policy. So I'm going to specify the policy name as clearing stale accounts. So I'm just going to name my policy, choose my domain, and again, this is a user automation policy. Okay, so what would I do as soon as I find a stale account is the question that I'm going to answer here. So the moment I find a stale account, first thing I'm going to do is disable the account because I do not want anybody to log in to it. Okay, the next thing that I would like to do is over a period of 10 days later, I would like to move the account to an OU which says disabled users OU. Okay, and over the next 10 days, let's say I would like to remove that user from all groups that he is a part of. Okay, and finally after 30 days I would like to delete the user. So as you can see, there are a series of management activities happening over a time period of 50 days. First, I first get a set of inactive users. I disable them instantly. I move them 10 days later to an OU, and 10 days from that I remove them from their groups, clear all existing group membership, and 30 days from that I delete user. Okay, so over a period of 50 days there's a management activity happening for a set of users. So I'm just going to create the policy now, save it. So I have my policy here. Now once I have my policy, I have to link it with my automation. So I'm going to go to automation again, create new automation. So this time it's going to be clearing stale accounts. So I have my automation name there. I choose my domain. I choose the category. Okay. Now task to automate. What am I going to do with the automation, or what do I want to achieve? So I'm going to clear stale accounts, and I've created a policy on what I have to do. So I choose my policy from here. Okay, and where am I going to do it? What is the input for the users, or where am I going to take the users from? Okay, so here we have an option which says from reports. So I hit select, and here I have an option which says inactive users. Okay, so I'm just going to click on inactive users, and I'm just going to choose inactive users for the last, let's say, 120 days. Okay, I also have these checkboxes here which says exclude disabled users, exclude never logged on users. I can check them if I want to. Okay, or let's say if I would like to add a specific condition, okay, to pick users. Let's say if their description is inactive. So you've already identified a few inactive accounts, and you've changed their description to inactive, and just pick them up through this automation. And if you would like to run them through this tasks, through the set of tasks, you can give in a criteria here. But I'm not going to choose a criteria. I'm going to identify all inactive users for the last 120 days and run them through a set of automation policy that I've created. So I'm just going to choose my report in here. So once I choose my report, I can choose the time at which I would like the automation to run. So I have the same set of options here which says hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. So I'm going to run the automation the first of every month at 10 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so if I'm going to hit save, the automation is going to run on the 1st of July at 10 a.m. If I'm going to hit save and run, it's going to run now as well as on the 1st of July. Okay, now I have a few more options as well. So if you've already identified, like I've said, if you've already identified a few inactive accounts on your Active Directory, you can specify it through the same through a CSV file in the same manner like we've mentioned on user creation. So you could place a CSV file on a shared location and paste the location in here. So AD Manager Plus, when it runs the automation, will search for the CSV file on that location, pull those users up, and run them against this policy. Okay. I'm also going to talk about a very important feature in here. Since this is a deletion automation, I would like to emphasize on this option which says add OUs. So if you've got some very high privileged accounts on certain OUs, and if they've been inactive and you do not want to delete them, you could exclude them in here and just select specific OUs on which you would like the automation to run. Okay, so that's pretty much about clearing the inactive accounts from your Active Directory. Okay, the third automation that we're going to deal with is how you could give certain users privilege over organizational level data or resources and application, and revoke them on a timely basis. Okay, so what you require an automation for this exact agenda. The reason being, what happens generally is we give users privilege over certain resources and application, and over a period of time we either forget to remove them from that group, or either we lose track of how many users we've added there to that group. So it's really tedious and really difficult to provide access over a period of time and revoke them. And how easily you can give how easily you can add users to certain groups and revoke them. These groups are security groups and they possess permission over resources, application, let's say, a SQL application as such, and how on a timely basis you could revoke them from these privileges and permissions by removing from the group is what we're going to look at right now. Okay, so I'm just going to click on automation again. Okay, so this automation is basically going to deal with how I'm going to add users to a group and how I'm going to remove them back from those group after a certain period of time. Okay, I'm just going to click on automation policy because this is going to deal with two management activities: adding users to groups and removing users from groups. So I'm going to click on automation policy, create new policy, SQL application access. So that's the name, and I'm going to choose what category again. So it's going to be the user category. I'm going to choose the domain. So once I'm done choosing the domain, my select task is going to be adding users to groups. So I'm just going to choose the groups that will give access to the SQL application. Okay, and let's say over a period of 7 days, I'm going to remove the same set of users from those groups. So I'm going to click on remove groups, and I'm going to click on add to specify the groups in here. Okay, this is my policy, as simple as that. I'm adding them to 2 groups and I'm removing them from those 2 groups over a period of 7 days. Okay, I'm just going to save my policy in here. I'm going to go back to automation, create new automation. I'm going to call it automation for temporary SQL app access. Okay, so again, it's a user automation, and I'm going to choose my domain. So once I'm done choosing my domain, I'm going to choose what task or policy I'm going to perform. So I've created a policy for it, so I click on select automation policy, and I'm going to choose my policy. So here I'm going to select the users, or I'm going to give the input for the automation to run. So here I have 2 options here. So I can either choose it from a report. You could choose one of these reports which might meet your criteria. I could go for an enabled users report that's here, and I can add a condition, let's say description is new employee. So if I want a new employee to grant, if I want to grant a new employee access over the SQL application for a period of 7 days and revoke it, I could give my new employees a description saying a fresher or a rookie, and I could have it here as a criteria or the enabled users report. So it's going to filter out the new employees from the enabled users report and provide them access over the group. Or I could also provide a CSV file in here which contains all my new joinees. So it's going to give the same thing. It's going to happen. It's going to give them access over the groups and remove them from those groups over a period of 7 days. Okay. And let's say I'm going to run the automation on a hourly basis or a daily basis at 10 a.m. in the morning, or even at a more option that gives you the option to specify a time and a frequency at which you want the automation to run. So through this automation, I will be able to give users access to my SQL application just because I'm adding them to the groups that have the necessary permissions, and over a period of 7 days I'm removing them again, and this is going to happen automatically. So all the automations that we saw is going to happen without any human intervention. So if I create an automation, and if I'm going to hit save, the automation is going to run on the time that I specified, and once the automation runs, I'm gonna have it running on the time specified again and again and again. But since I've specified a custom time basis, it's just gonna run once. Okay. But if I'm gonna choose a daily, monthly, or a hourly basis, it's gonna run on those time periods. Okay. So if I want to know if my automations have run successfully, I could click on execution history. This is going to give me, a kind of a summary if the automation has run and if it is successful. How many objects have been, how many objects have been put under the automation, and what kind of management tasks have been performed. Okay. If I would like to temporarily disable my automation, I can disable it, or if I would like to delete my automation, I could go ahead and delete it. So this is how you could automate critical tasks on your Active Directory. I've basically given you a head start of how the automation works, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot more automations that you can perform. So like I showed, automations pertaining to users, you have automations on groups, contacts, and computers as well. Okay. If you would like an enhancement on the automation feature, you could definitely contact us, and we will definitely welcome your feedbacks on this feature. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the second major agenda that's lined up for today, the AD Manager Plus mobile app. Okay. So in order to know where I will have to go and download my mobile app, I will just have to click on the Home tab, and on the Home tab, on my quick links, right at the bottom, I'm going to have AD Manager Plus mobile app and its links, both for Android as well as the iPhone. So I'm just going to click on the iPhone and the Android app. So as you could see, the app is less than 2 MB. So it's almost around 2 MB, and there are a lot of features that this app packs. So just to give you a head start of how the app works. So you will have to download the app, and your device needs to be connected to your Active Directory network, either through a VPN or an Office Wi-Fi. So it has to be connected to the domain through your Office network, that is your Wi-Fi or a VPN. So once it's connected, you could log in to the app with your AD Manager Plus credentials. So the moment that you insert your AD Manager Plus credentials in here, it's going to take you to the server settings, where you will have to fill in the machine where your AD Manager Plus desktop application or the server application is installed. You will have to fill in those details, fill in information pertaining to the port on which it's running. By default, it's port 8080. And then you will have to mention if it's a HTTPS connection or a HTTP connection. So that's pretty much it. You have to fill in your AD Manager Plus credentials and mention the machine of the mention the name of the machine, the port on which it's running, and what type of connection is the connectivity based on of the AD Manager Plus machine here. And I think you're very good to get started with the app. Now, once you log into the app, there are 6 features available in the app. The first one is going to be enable, disable, reset password, unlock users, delete users, and group membership. Okay, so I have these features in my app, and I also have all the users listed out here. So if I click on the users, I'm going to get user information details in here. Now, if I want to unlock a user, all that I have to do is select the user, click on the user, and choose the unlock option. Okay. Let's say if I want to add users to groups, that's pretty simple as well. So I can select the users, and I can add them to specific groups and remove them from specific groups. So the app gives me the option to perform on-the-fly management. So let's say I'm away from my desk. Let's say I'm away from my work, but I'm still connected to my network. I can perform these very helpful help desk technician tasks through my mobile phone itself. So I could go ahead and unlock user, reset their passwords, enable them, disable them through my phone. Okay, so that's about the app, and I'm pretty sure that you will download and play around with it. If you would like a few more features on the app, just feel free to contact us, and we will definitely discuss them with my development team and try and have them on the app. So do let us know if you're looking out for more features on the mobile app, and do play with it. Okay. The third and the final agenda that's lined up for today is going to be a few troubleshooting tips and tricks for AD Manager Plus. So how do I start troubleshooting my AD Manager Plus in case I land up with an issue? Okay, the very first thing that you would have to do is click on the help link. So once you click on the help link, this is going to give you a general overview of the various prerequisites or things that the AD manager should meet in order to function properly. Okay, so here we have most of the tips, tricks, troubleshooting steps, or the prerequisites that the AD Manager Plus application needs to meet in order to work with Exchange O365, Link, etc. Okay, so you also have the troubleshooting steps which have the error codes that appear during during the AD Manager Plus functioning. So for example, if you have an error code which says 8005752E, if I'm going to click on the error code, that's going to take me to the answer for the error code. So why is the error code appearing? Okay, if you have errors that are appearing beyond this help document, which is out of the scope, you could definitely contact us through the support tab that's here. So on the support tab, we have an option to chat with us 24/5. We have our numbers in here, and you can definitely get in touch with us through the phone. We also have knowledge bases and documents and videos that might be helpful in knowing a feature better, or knowing the background or the operation of a feature. And if you would like to have a new feature within the tool, you could also request for one. Okay, so that's pretty much about the troubleshooting tips and tricks that we have for the day. Okay, just to wrap up the session that we had now, and all the things that we discussed. So we had a look at how to provision new employees in your Active Directory with minimal information from the HR, how they could place a minimal information on a CSV file on a shared location, and how the AD Manager picks up those information and start creating users. Then we had a look at how you can clear stale accounts from your Active Directory over a period of time, trace, quarantine, and clean them up over a period of time. Then we had a look at how you could provide temporary access to certain application or resources, and make sure you revoke them as well through automation. Okay. Then we had a look at how important AD tasks on the move are, and how you could have a mobile app configured so you can perform crucial help desk technician tasks on the fly from your mobile phone. Then we had a quick heads up on how to troubleshoot Exchange and mailbox issues on your AD Manager Plus through the help link, and how effective you could use those help links to find error codes and troubleshoot them. Okay, I really want to thank you everybody that's here with us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us for this session, and I hope these sessions will be informative. Now you could get your questions on the chat, and we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Have a pleasant evening today.